Alright, we're going to do this. This is step 2 in progressive flashcards. So remember, in order to move to step 2, you must have completed step 1. And then we can move to number 2. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You've gone through step 1 one time. It's interesting how we did that. We said you need to get through step 1 one time. You need to get through step 2 2 times. Now that means 2 times at one go. That doesn't mean you get through once, you screw up the second round, you reshuffle it, you go through it again, and you think that that was second round done. No, you have to get through 2 consecutive times without mistakes to have completed step 2. It's really simple. If you want to count them out to make sure you have 6 in each pile, go ahead and do that. If you don't, go ahead and eyeball it and make sure you have just about what you need. So the first step is to just take them and make 2 piles. Those piles. Really easy, right? So then you grab just the top one from each pile and you take a look at what they say. And as you can see right here, I have good and I have a moral ambiguity. So here's the test. In step 1, you've already gotten through spitting out the answer or remembering, regurgitating, being able to get into your head and recall information. That's a very early step on intelligence and how to use it. So now we want to start making connections because that's going to cause different neural patterns to fire and different connections to be made. So you look at it again, you say good and moral ambiguity. And you have to make the connection out loud. So I would say, well, good is the idea of morally acceptable and a morally kind of nice place to be. And then moral ambiguity is a concept of doubting the righteousness of a decision. So doubting whether or not a decision was good or bad. So this is a really easy connection to make for me. I can say that the connection between good and moral ambiguity is the fact that moral ambiguity actually is the doubtfulness on whether or not a situation is good or not. So remember, to the right, which looks like your left, the good pile. And move on. We have allegory and criticism. And so I have to think about it and I have to say, well, criticism is the analysis of literature and the way we're using it in class, and an allegory is getting to an abstract concept using words, pictures, or ideas to kind of tell a story to get there. So I have to figure out the connection between the two, and one could say that you could use allegory as a criticism or a form of criticism for an idea in order to make it more easily accessible to other people through story, because that's what story is, right? The idea to transfer information in kind of an entertaining and easy to understand way. Good pile. So you go through them just like this. So this is the second round of step 2. I was successful first round. So what you do is you shuffle up that entire pile again. Separate it into those 2 nearly equal or equal piles. Now you have new connections being made. You go through the whole process all over again. You look at the 2 words, you tell how they're related to each other. Now this gets crazy as you get down the line and you have a pile like this big, right? Later down the year when you do this massive challenge study, right? And you have something that's like a grammatic term and then something that has to do with Shakespeare or with literature or lit criticism, and you really have to work to make those 2 work together, but you can do it. And sometimes you do the whole 9 links to Kevin Bacon kind of thing, but you can still make it happen. And that's the beauty of this process, is it forces you to make connections. You need to get through this 2 times consecutively with no mistakes. It has to happen. If you screw up even one, you have to stop where you're at, remix them, and start over again. If you keep screwing up in step 2 and you can't move anywhere, you need to move back to step 1. But remember the rule. No matter how poorly you're doing, when you get to the 20-minute mark, you're done. You're done for the day. Don't do any more. It's not useful to do anymore. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to punch something. And that just isn't a healthy way to deal with things. So there you go. Once you finish step 2, go ahead and email me, and I'll get you figured out for step 3. Good night.